sit here and have a conversation with you after taking some quality 3 days and a half off. How have we been out there? I hope all of you are sound, you're healthy, you're kicking up, you're picking up those that are doing home office, working, in their offices. We wish you all well. I hope the vaccines or the vaccinations actually currently going on in your sectors and your areas, and people have been testing, just like the case in Germany. We see all the centers for vaccinations that have been planted in major cities, and we see the age and the target groups that are already going forward, to take the first dose and maybe the second one. Yeah, so I hope everyone is sound and safe, and I'm happy again to be sitting here and for us to have this very, our daily conversations on the Pan-African Daily TV. Family is doing fine. That is very necessary for us to know, and everyone on the continent. I mean, of course, we know, yes, we have challenges or whatever, but it doesn't stop us from doing our work and carrying on our responsibility. So, like I said, it's once more a pleasure to welcome all of you that are joining from the different platforms from everywhere. Tonight is another night where we want to know what is going on in Nigeria. I mean, last week or Friday, there was already some rumors that all is not well, between the Yorubas and the Fulanis in Nigeria. We want to get the insight from an expert point of view. Femi Akinbi, our senior expert and master, is here tonight again to give us an overview. Femi is not just an expert and a consultant and a business owner or a critical mind and one of the biggest voices on the continent, but of course he is Nigerian born and of course again Yoruba in origin. So who can actually give us the actual picture on the ground if we don't get the inside story? So I want to welcome all of you and thank you for joining. If you're joining for the first time, please make sure you click and subscribe because we have a lot more to go. Yes, like I said, the whole week on the Pan-African Daily TV, we're going to be getting scholars, experts, voices, to have these daily conversations. That is our passion and that is our work for Africa. Now, before I get to meet Femi to find out how he's doing out there or for us to continue the conversations, I just want to remind you who we're going to be having here the whole week. Tomorrow, we're going to have Rutendo Mitanyara, this great young scholar, also an expert and the voices of the young people. Some people think Rutendo is so critical and is a little bit pessimist, but I think he is the true black brain of an Afrocentric African. Everything about him, he talks about Africa and for the interest of Africa and by Africans. So on Thursday, we're going to get Kojo, an expert on science of spirituality and what we should be knowing about building a culture that is dependable on African values, not just, any kind of culture that pick and copy and paste. No, Kojo is really going to be here to educate us on that. On Friday, we're officially launching Women First for Africa, taking the lead with our champion Queen Mother, Dr. Arikana Chikomborikwa. She's going to do the official launching of what we call the Diaspora $1 million Fund, which we set a target for it to raise that money and put it on the table on, in a couple of 6 months. We have to meet up with that target. I'm very happy Femi is here and he's going to be also part of that agenda that we're talking about. Because what's it that Dr. Arikana is saying? He said, maybe we just shut up. If we don't have the money, to rescue Africa, if we don't put our money where our mouths are, we should stop talking. So I can't wait to have the Queen Mother here on Friday, to unveil this official launch, and more would be yours coming out from ADDI. Saturday, we have Dr. Nichols, one of our biggest voices in the diaspora, as we know, as scholar. And he's going to be lecturing us on leadership and culture, just a continuation. And today, we are hammering exactly on what is it that has made the difference between us Nigerian people or Cameroonian people or, I don't know, Tanzanians in Ghana. What is the difference? Now we have the Fulanis or the Hausas or the Arabs. What is it that we should know about this conflict? So I want to welcome Femi here tonight. Femi, brother, expert, master, and everything. How are you doing today?
I'm here and I'm grateful. Could you all hear me properly?
We can hear you, but Femi, I'm a little bit worried about your volume. I don't know why it's so a little bit kind of low. Can you just increase it?
Um,
Yes, perfect. One on one. Go ahead. How are you doing?
okay. You could hear me now. It's better.
It's perfect. It shouldn't even be
Okay.
better. It's just the best for me.
Okay. Now, good evening to the listening audience. I would like to
Yes.
thank my sister Susan for bringing me on board to share some of the insight to what's going on in Nigeria. As you all will know, that Nigeria is one of the biggest country in the continent in size of numbers of people. That one out of 4 African is a Nigerian, and the 1 out of 8 black person anywhere is a Nigerian. So it is important when Nigeria is going through troubles that we think will spring to war, that we quickly start to figure a way to address it. I think the important thing is to understand the cause of the conflict, the current state of the conflict, and the resolution of what we think we should do about them. Um, so also it is important that we want to say that all of us who are within the African continent are brothers and sisters. Regardless of the challenges we're having, there's a need for us to find a peaceful resolution because we cannot afford to go to war in Nigeria. If Nigeria goes to war, it will destabilize a lot of the African continent because of the population of the continent, of that country. So having said that, the issue currently is the issue between the Fulanis
Um,
and
uh,
the Yorubas.
Femi,
Yes.
please, is it okay if you want to tell our listeners who you are? You're sitting right here in Nigeria, or where are you currently, and what are you doing?
Okay. I'm sorry. Then my name is Femi Akinbi. I'm a Nigerian. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm an Africanist. I'm a development consultant. I am the director of the private sector development at Manchester Trade LLC, a Washington-based consulting firm. For the most part, that's who I am. I hope that covers it.
Oh, yes, that, a little bit, yes, but we'll be getting into that detail. So, what is currently happening in Nigeria? Is there actually something like a historical background to it, or is just something that is still still anticipating and think that it should be stopped right away?
Well, it definitely have a historical background. This issue is an old issue. All
Okay.
around 1700s, there was a climatic change in some part of the northern part of the African continent.
Mhm.
This is where the Fulanis normally have been dwelling. Hence, there was a drought. They start to head south for greener pasture. And from that 1700 till now, they're still moving south. It must be important for the audience to know that the Fulanis are a group of people that move around, otherwise called the I'm looking for the word, but they are
The
a group of
normal-
they are nomadic by nature.
Yes.
So they move around from an area to the other, and they don't really have like a permanent place of their own. Hence, they are cattle rearers. They like to move their cattle from one area to graze
Mhm.
and then find water and so on and so forth. That has been their historical trade, and that's how they have always have lived.
Mhm.
But fast forward to where we are today, they have moved south. And by the way, it must be important to know that the Fulanis are not just in Nigeria. They're from Senegal all the way to Nigeria.
Okay.
And they dwell in all of this part of the continent. In
Mhm.
Nigeria, they are less than maybe 10%, maybe 15% of the population, but they've been rearing their cattle for a very, very long time in that country. The issue of today started, say maybe about 1894, where there was one of their heads by name Usman Danfodio, who think that hence they do not have a place there of their own. They should head south and start to claim land anywhere they can. And in the process, they start to create havoc. They actually started in the northern part of Nigeria over 100 years ago, in a place where the Hausa people dwell. And they start to give trouble to the Hausa people and eventually dominate the Hausa tribe. And then later, they start to move down south. This other issue that I think we should keep in mind, apart from a tribal factor, there's also a religion factor in this. The Fulanis are about 98% to 99% Muslim, and they are now coming, forcing the other group or ethnicity into the Muslim faith. The Usman Danfodio issue was to have a holy jihad and move it through the continent to convert as many people to the Muslim faith as possible. And that has been their approach ever since then. The other part of the current information that the listener audience needs to know is that the current president of the Nigerian government is a Fulani by name Mohammed Buhari. And so also it is important to look at the undercurrent of some of this issue, is that currently all the security apparatus of the whole country is in the hand of the Fulanis. That means the border control, custom control, the police force, the navy, the army, and etc. are all in the hands of the Fulanis at this current point. So that leaves a very sad, smelly taste in the mouth of the other group, other tribes in this country to say, look, if you are giving all of the security apparatus to your people, that means that you have a hidden agenda.
Oh, correct.
And what is that hidden agenda? We would like to know. And that's some base of some of this conflict. The earlier state of the conflict was that the Fulani will bring their cow from the north in a truckload, deliver them back to the southern part of the country, and then start to look for grazing possibilities where the cow will graze and drink water. In the process, they start to encroach people's farm and their way of livelihood, and sometimes their whole household. The current affair now has springboard to a point where the Fulanis are now actually, the other part of the information I need to pass, most of the Fulani currently in Nigeria giving this trouble are not Nigerians. They were imported from Niger, Chad, and other African countries to come to Nigeria and to take the land and to make it their own. That's the sentiment on the ground. True or not, that's the sentiment. And the evidence is proving towards that end. The current issue is that they are now gazing on people's farm, people who are farming in their own farm, trying to figure a way to make a living through farming and harvest what they farm down the line. The Hausa the Fulanis are bringing their cattle into those territories, and they will eat all the farm plants that the farmers have planted and hoping to harvest. And an attempt to stop them, sometimes maybe before I even go forward, so also it is important that Nigeria is a country that there are plenty laws on the book, but the laws are never enforced. So when there's a problem between the Fulani herdsmen and the local indigenous Yoruba farmers in conflict, the Yoruba person does not see any legal ramification or a legal law to come to he or her side, and then sometimes they might have forced the issue, sometimes kill a cow, and so on and so forth. And then the the Fulani will revenge by either killing them, literally shooting them, and the consequence is what we are dealing with now. The other part of the legal aspect that we should address is that Nigeria is a country that does not allow people to carry weapons. This Fulanis that they are bringing from foreign countries are being dumped in the rainforest of different Yoruba states. And they just move into a forest that does not belong to them. And all of these people are carrying AK-47 guns, and they feel very well armed. And the current effect that is now boiling over is that they start to kidnap people for ransom, for money, and sometimes when the ransom is paid, they still kill the people.
Oh.
And then they're just going to freeway, a highway, and sometimes they will wear military fatigue that belongs to military government of the country. The citizen now cannot differentiate between the legal military person and the headsman who is wearing a military uniform and then kidnapping people for money. Underneath there, we have the issue of the Boko Haram in Nigeria, which are the northerners who are mostly Hausas, are mostly Fulanis, who are now threatening the country to turn the country to a Muslim faith. While we're still at this, it must be important that the US government have put Nigeria as one of those countries who are violating religion freedom, and we've been blacklisted. Nigeria have lost hundreds of thousands of people in the past 5 years to these people. They take open arms and just shoot innocent people because of their faith. It must be important also that they're not just killing the Yoruba or the Igbos. Sometimes they're killing the Fulanis and the Hausas, who they don't think are that deep into the religion faith, are not as conservative in their belief system as them, and they just shoot at random and they're killing people. In a place called Kano, southern part of Kano, they just go out without a gun and just behead people. This has been going on for a long time. An average of 100 people are getting killed a day. And the government apparatus and the police are not doing anything about it. Sometimes they come 2 days later. There has been report sometimes where they think that it's the police apparatus and the military apparatus helping these people, that they will come into their neighborhood, disarm the people, and then a day 2 later, the Boko Haram people will come and ransack the place. It has been going on in Nigeria now for a little while. Now it has got to a point where it has got to a boiling point where the southern part or southwest of Nigeria, where the Yoruba normally dwell, about maybe 7 states or so, or Ogun, Lagos, Osun, Ondo state, are now under the what they consider the they're living under fear, and that they feel that these people who are in their forests are not ready to leave, and any effort to rid of them have become violent, and they started to kidnap on a consistent daily basis. Sometimes women are raped, a lot of time people are killed for ransom, and this issue is now boiling over to the point where the state governor of one state in Ondo State told them they must all leave the forest, that the forest does not belong to them, that this is our land and they must leave. And the cattle rearers or the headsmen have a small association, and this association is responding and telling the governor that they are not going anywhere, that any effort to move them will be a state of war. So that's where we are currently, on a summary of where we are as people. Then the question becomes, war is knocking at the door, and the Fulanis who are in this forest are fully armed, AK-47 weapons, bunch of ammunitions, and the actually rumor on the ground, which I don't even think is a rumor, that the Fulani who are being brought from other parts of the African continent, Chad, and so on and so forth, did not speak English, did not speak any of the local language, but the Fulani language. A lot of them, when they were apprehended, asked, where are you coming from, where you go? They have no clue. So that means that some people are just dumping them there and dumping weapons on them for a point where they're going to tell them to just rise up, give them the order to start to go to war. And that's the fear on the ground now, where the governor is asking them they must all leave and leave the forest, that they are not allowed in the forest without permission. The forest does not belong to them. And their answer is that the whole of the Nigerian country belongs to them. So that's some part of the background. What are the issues that, if we want to look at it, is the issue of one, the African continent was hashed by Europeans in the scramble for Africa. I think it was 1884 or about there. And all of these entities were put together without the same cultural value system, without the same religion system. And it was put together by Europeans just to colonize the African continent. Mm-hmm. Because of this issue now, we are realizing that, as a matter of fact, it must be important that I mention here that in the last 100 years, most of the flag that has been raised as a country or as countries were all raised under the barrel of a gun. That means that people fought blood and sweat to decide that, okay, we had enough fight. Let's come together based upon 1, 2, 3, whatever principle we agreed on, and then they formulate a country. Nigeria was not given this opportunity. The country was cast for us, the flag was given to us, and we started to use this formation, I think it's 1914, when they mingle all the northern part of the country with the southern part of the country, they call it a country, and it's not working, it doesn't work, and I'm not sure where we go from here on some of these issues.
Okay, from what the way you thank you first of all for giving this overview. I mean, so it has to do with 3 tribes. Now, what's the role of the Yorubas in it? You talked about the Hausas, you talked about the Fulanis, and as much as I know, they're actually not indigenous or origins of Nigeria or any state there. They're living from the Mali, the Senegal, the Sahara, as I can say, the Sahel, called the Sahel. And these nomadic people usually would be cattle rearers that move from one country to the other. Are they somehow likely like to the Bororos? Because we know the Bororos in Cameroon, and they also like settlers with their cattle, but they're really like harmless.
Well, no, because historically, anywhere where this group have dwelled, they've dwelled and brought chaos. And they came to those places and then forced the people out and tried to make this their land, because for real, they do not have any land of their own.
Sure.
They've been moving around from day one to rear cattle. The question that we need to ask are a few questions. One, what are the economical aspects of this? What are the legal aspects of this? And we could go on and on. So let me address one. For example, the Fulanis has been rearing this cattle like this over maybe 4 or 5 centuries. The question becomes, in the 21st century, why are we still rearing cattle in a nomadic form, where the modern world is not operating that way anymore? How come we cannot have a agribusiness that is able to set up a cattle space or operation where the cattle dwell in a particular land, where they get the feeding needed to feed them and give them the water to drink? Why is it that they still rearing cattle as it was done in the 1100s? That's the question. And by the way, while we're at it, Nigeria does not even include one of the 20 countries on the planet that have the most cattle. We're not close to it. I'll give you some stats of what some of us could look at. The top 10 nations in terms of cattle inventories are India with 303 million cattle, Brazil 226, China 100 million, USA 93 million, EU 89 million, Argentina 53 million, Australia 27 million, Russia, Mexico, and Turkey. So we don't even fit in the first 20. So what are we fighting for? What are we killing ourselves for? And for the business of this cattle, We don't even rank in the first 20 because those who are in the cattle business are the top exporters of milk.
Yes.
Nigeria is not even one of the 20. We have Swaziland, 4.4 billion. I mean, New Zealand, rather. German, 2.6 billion. Netherlands, 1.9 billion. France, 1.5 billion. USA, 1.4 billion of milk export. Belgium, 1.2. Austria, and the list goes on. And we did not even fit in the first 20. So the question becomes, why are we still doing business the old way? And then if you look at the beef export in the world, we don't even fit in the first 20 either. We have Australia with 4.6 billion, USA, Brazil, India, etc. I don't want to just take time to read all the data out to you. But what I'm saying, agronomy in Africa is still a zero-sum game. That's where we should be headed. The government apparatus should have some form of industrial setup where we could do cattle rearing and then have a slaughterhouse, have a making facility so that we could join the global economical system. We are operating at a 13th century adage system and it's causing conflict all over the place. That's part of what is going on in Nigeria.
Wow. Do you think that it could even work? Of course, it's a way forward, which I don't even see any reason why we wouldn't get there. We will get there. Because if you look at the infrastructures now, I think it's not even just possible. Look at, but the concern, or I think what viewers would like to know, I definitely would also like to know that. How did they get access to weapons?
Well, sources are saying that they are being supported by other foreign Islamic states. That other Islamic states, i.e. Saudi Arabia, i.e. Niger, and so on and so forth. And that so also some of the weapons left over have found their way into Nigeria in the hands of these people. And that somebody's financing it. Because the other thing you have to understand is that there's some political entity who are looking to benefit from this game they're playing. The bottom line at the end of the day, it is the poor Fulanis, it is the poor Yorubas, the poor Igbos, and the poor Hausa. All of us are still Nigerians that are going to be paying the price for all of this malady. Why? How could a person have a family and do not have a house and move into the forest without any structure in this forest? No housing, no tent, no hut. And they live in open space. And they have high-level weapons. If a person does not have enough money to buy a shoe, where is he getting the AK-47 from? So this have a political ramification aspect to it. This have economical, and this have tribal and religion.
This sounds really complicated, the way you put it. Yes, I want to thank all of you that are watching. Silva is here. Sumentenda is here. Sumtende. I'm sorry, Chairman. I usually don't really pronounce that name well. Stephanie Francis is here. And Chichi, I salute you. One Dyke is here. Obeame, Stephen, Nelson, Chinozo. Wow, it's been long. El Haji is here now. So Grace Jaravaza, thank you for being here. Angie Sylvia. I mean, I'm just greeting all of you because it's been a while. It's been a couple of days while we give Brother Femi a small break to drink some water and get back to us. I want to spend this time or use this small time to tell us the Pan-African Daily TV is growing tremendously well. And we're looking forward. We're really looking forward to empower ourselves through this media to be the main voice of Africans worldwide, connecting the diaspora and the continental Africa. And you guess what? On Friday, like I said, Dr. Arikana is going to be joining us here to officially launch what we call the 1 million fund, diaspora fund. I mean, it doesn't mean that people on the continent would not contribute. We've been talking about the need for us to own our money or to put our money where our mouth is. That's the only way we can have influence to make changes. I mean, we're talking about strategic changes like the situation in Nigeria that is boiling. We don't want to get another civil war. We don't want to get the situation of Uganda that we've not even dealt with is still on our hands. Bobby Wine is still on the house arrest, and the world is just mute, particularly us Africans. So Dr. Arikana has been saying it. She's the mother and the queen, and we're saying, women, you know what? We have to take the lead, not just by talking, but by putting our money. And we're calling on all our brothers, the men. I mean, we're talking about senior master consultants and business owners, top of the top, like Brother Femi that is here. Brother Femi, we have to have that discussion after this conversation. Yes. So we're launching up that 1 million diaspora fund, and we're calling on you to just get ready, because every Saturday on the Pan-African Daily TV for 6 months, 6 months is the target. I mean, but we know that we are able and we're rich and we're capable, so we can even make it in 3 months. But we're just saying that we've been sleeping a lot, we've been educating a lot, we've been talking a lot. Now it's time to put our money where our mouths are before we can actually take rid of all this bad governance. If we say we're coming up with a Pan-African army, so be it. But we need money. We need that money. So we're calling on all of you to get a warm up, get ready, because we have to make that target. Part of that budget is going to be invested in our Pan-African Daily TV, of course, which is going to be the hammer and the biggest media that is connected its diaspora worldwide, and other projects like the Wakanda City, but of course, to make it work in terms of governance. So yes, I just wanted to make you understand, or to let us know that now it's time. 2021, we're not just going to be sitting and watch all this going on in the AU and other foreign investors going behind the back and trying to get our leaders and just corrupt them and keep us broke. That's why we hear about the wars. Now we're talking about the Nigerian conflict that is boiling. No media has been reporting about it. Femi, tell me, where you telling us this? Where did you get that information? Is because you're connected home, but which media is even talking about it, Femi?
Well, most of the Nigerian local media are discussing this.
Okay.
But I don't think it's getting enough outside exposure. I think there's also a possibility of a public relation attempt to suppress the information so that the people who are behind this could keep doing what they're doing. Take, for example, there was a Hausa person by name Dr. I can't pronounce his name properly, Malufia Obadiem. He came out and said that about a year ago, that all of these things that we're dealing with in Nigeria have a political undercurrent, that the head of the Boko Haram of the country is a current governor in the northern state, that their interest has been how are they going to take over the country and turn it into a Muslim entity. So also the issue of the part of the north that is full of drought, and that most of the raw materials is in the south. The southwest of the country is a forest-based environment. So it's fertile for agriculture, it's fertile for grazing, but so also is the base of all the oil. And so people want this. And what this person was discussing, by the way, he's not just your regular average person. He was a former, I think, a minister in the country, and he was an Oxford graduate. And he's not and he's also a Fulani, and he's not just talking out of his head. Well, he's saying that the political undertone is that the government of this administration, that they do not want to leave. They want to make sure that after the 2023 election that is coming, that they will not allow that to happen. So now that they're going to start by going to the rainforest and create havoc there, and then the second level will be to come to the inner city and start to kill prominent people so that other people could run away. And that lastly and thirdly, that in 2022, they're going to go out in outright war to take over the country. There's so much facts pointing to this direction. Because if you see the amount of the Fulanis in the forest in the country, it's amazing. When you have in an area 400, 500 Fulanis with guns, and they're not Nigerian, and they live in your forest. If you go out and try to harvest what you planted, by the time you get there, it has been gazed done. And if you ask any question, they put the gun and they shoot the people. Now, before I will continue, I'd like to also mention that the government apparatus have not done anything Scarcely did they have anybody arrested. The killing in the Kaduna part of the country is happening. Broad daylight. Somebody would just take a long machete and chop somebody's head off because they're not Muslim or because they wear a skirt. And because there's no governmental response, the citizens of the country now are looking to taking power into their own hand. Because when there's no enforcement of the law, the people have to protect themselves. Upon the governor Akeredolu of Ondo State declaring that the Fulanis must leave his territory within 7 days, response from the federal spokesperson was that Nigeria belongs to everybody, which is true, that we're ECOWAS country, that anybody could move from where they are to wherever they want to go, which is also true. But the law does not allow a person to carry weapon with severe, heavy ammunition to go with it, to stay in your forest, and they're not from the country. And then they now set out to arrest this governor. When the people were killing, there was no response from the government. When the governor said now is telling the Fulani to leave, the governor is responding and threatening to arrest the governor of that state. There comes the next follow-up, was there's a young man by name Sunday who now said he's tired of the way they're killing the Yoruba people and went to give the imam or the head of the Muslim in his area an ultimatum to get his people out of the forest who are kidnapping, who are killing, and who are raping women to get out. And a week later, he called on the rest of his youth to come out. Close to maybe between 10 to 50,000 youth came out to support him because now the government is now forcing an arrest of him that they're going to arrest him. With this kind of conflict, a war is brewing, and if care is not taken, it's going to spill over.
Wow, this I mean, it looks like a takeover, or I don't know how I can call it. Now, but where is the situation of the Igbos? Because I think
the Igbos
now, is it because it's concerning the Yorubas now, the Yorubas that are coming up now? Yoruba has been silent. I mean, we know about the Biafran conflict. We know about stuff that are just really coming up. Now, what is that actually going to do? Is it that, yes, now they feel the pinch?
Now, let me give you also the best information to the listener. The Igbos are mostly in the eastern part of the country. Boko Haram has gradually getting to their territory. So also they felt that they've been undermined for too long. So they're asking for secession from the country, that they want to break away from the country.
These are the Biafrans.
Yes, they're back up with that secession attempt. So also there are a group of Yoruba called the Ishona Yoruba, or otherwise used to be called Yoruba War Congress, who are now actually making effort to succeed out of the country at the same time as we're speaking. So we have two secession groups going on in the country, and we have the Fulani heads who are in the northern part of the country that have a stronghold on all the people in the country, and they are not giving to the country the needed apparatus needed to address what their needs are, where their economic policies, I mean, economic security issues are. Oh, okay, thank you. All right. That was my office, bear with me. That the government apparatus are not giving enough support in the defense, in the internal security of the country to the countrymen. So because of this, the part of the country is now asking for secession, that they want to break away. And this is another undercurrent going on in Nigeria. We have two secession groups going on at the same time, and we have the northern part who is controlling the government, and all the security apparatus in the country are in the hands of the Fulani. That includes our weapon, navy, army, police force, and so on and so forth. And that's the base of some of this conflict.
Wow. It sounds also like we see some religious aspect into it. So we have like the Biafrans or the Igbos that are more Christian-like, and then we have the Hausas, and now we have the sorry, the Fulanis. What else?
Well, we have also the Yorubas who are animalists, the people who
Okay.
believe that in the traditional way of religion. It is also important while we are talking about this to realize that the Yoruba kingdom predated a lot of these other entities because our religion practice predated Christianity and the Muslim faith.
Mm.
So these are newcomers into the territory and they're forcing their way on the people to make sure that the Muslim faith becomes the most dominant part of the uh, religion system in the country.
Hmm. Nigeria is the big brother on the continent. I mean, one of the biggest giants that we're saying, if Africa has to breed, Nigeria has to breed. I mean, we also know about the conflicts, the deadly, long-lasting conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and also in the give me the name again. All right. Yes, we know about these long-lasting conflicts that have been going out there. Now, if you look at it from a strategic and a strategist point of view that you are, where is this heading to with these small tribal conflicts? We have the Biafran secession. We have now the Yoruba and the Fulanis that are coming up, and then we have the Boko Haram. How would Nigeria really develop in terms of economy and take the leadership that we're looking upon such a big brother as a nation of Africa? How?
I think one of the area of issues that we need to be contended with is that the as some of us are looking for a unified African, some people are only driving there on a religious and tribal level,
Uh-huh.
and this is not going to help us. Take for example, the Nigerian government is running a pipeline all the way from the southern part of the country, where the oil is, to the northern part of the country. It's a mass waste of resource and money. Instead of to refine the oil where it sits, they drive it straight to the northern part, thousands of miles, and in an attempt to send it to Chad for refinery and where they have control of the Muslim bit. We have all of
Mhm.
that under control. But before I completely give a one-sided side of this information, it is important for me to note here that the Hausas and the Fulanis are in the north, and that they all are not all criminals, that they are not are jihadists. There are some good Fulanis, there are some good Hausas, but we know the small percentage, but we don't know the exact percentage that is causing the struggle. Are an element of each society have their criminal percentage among us. And these are the
Mhm.
people who are now creating all the headache. Now, where and how do we move from here? I think few things should be addressed. The country needs to restructure. The structure that was given to us during the colonial era does not fit the country. We used that structure since till 1999. There was a constitution written in 1999, but it was written predominantly by the military, and they were northerners. What they've done is they managed to concentrate all the power in the hands of the federal system. Hence, they don't have the base or the economical infrastructure in the northern part. They're now looking for how do they control the resource of all the countries and drive it north. That's an
Mhm.
undercurrent that must be addressed. Um, Beyond that, the 1999 Constitution is too centralized into the hands of the federal government. Take, for example, if you're a governor of a state, you do not control your own police force. So if you have problems in your province or in your state, you still have to now reach out for the federal system to send you police. The chain of command then become political size. Instead of for you to have your own internal police system where you could call on your own people immediately to report to respond to what's going on, you still have to now look for outside. Then because of the politics, sometimes the help don't come to 3 days later. By the time you get there, people are slaughtered, people are killed, and so on and so forth. The suggestion is to return to a, a tripart system that we left before, which is a regional system. That means the northern people in the north control what is in the north, the southern people in the southwest control what is in the southwest, and the eastern part of the country where the Igbos control there. That's how it used to be before 1999. But an attempt to grab all the resources from the south to the north was drawn during the Constitution, and the Constitution was actually brought about without the people know what is in the Constitution. This needs to be redressed so that we could go back to a regional system at the minimum. But if that fails, we're expecting a succession from Nigeria or a war.
Anyway, we don't want no war anymore. We're tired of wars. I mean, we want to talk about an African that respire. We even said, or the AU talked about silencing the gun, which actually is a flagship program of the Africa We Want Agenda 2063. And so we're looking forward not to get another conflict, but also to start redressing the existing ones, of course. So on this note, I don't think that a conflict is needed, but we're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about the land of Chinua Achebe. We're talking about the land of great speakers and ladies of our time, like Chimamanda Adozie. We're talking about the land of great Burna Boy, of course. We're talking about the land of, of Nollywood, something that is just like, but when you look at everything now, like we're sitting here and talking about a conflict that is boiling up and coming up, and you begin to ask, are Nigerians actually united?
Yes, let me say this, that this is new, because I was born in a polygamous family, and in that same single family we have Christian, we have Muslim, and we have the traditional belief people in the same household. On Sunday, the Christian go to their church. On Friday, the Muslim go to their mosque, and the traditional belief system do what they do on Wednesday. So that's the system we originally came out of. Part of what most of us Africans do not understand is the issue of culture. That culture is your number one conflict resolution tool. Once we give our culture away, we do not have a way to address or redress all our conflicts. It's then spill out to we start to look for help from other people. And the people who we are looking for help from do not understand our culture. We need to now go back to an African-based system that have could existed for a long time. Yes, everywhere always has had war, but it was limited, it was not extensive. But now what is brewing in Nigeria, we've never seen this volume before, this many people brought in from the outside, weaponized, are now taking over people's land in the forest and dwell in it with interest of not ever leaving, and they say they're not turning back. That could be an area of headache. Solution is that the government needs to come on board and take the position of what the federal government of a country is supposed to do. They should the issue of redressing our constitutional rewrite should come up, and then we should at least look into our culture for our own resolution. Anything short of some of these measures, we're asking for trouble.
But what about the kings? I mean, we keep always talking about this government. Governments are political systems, like we're saying, inherited from the West. I know about Ono Ife of Yoruba, the Great. I mean, do the kingdoms and the kings, particularly whose lands are being taken because they own these lands, not just the political systems and the government. What is the role of the kings and the kingdoms and the royals in a conflict like this?
Well, it is important that we must note here that they start to voice their opinion recently. It is important for the kings and well, before I even said that, I believe it was in the 60s, the British colonial era took the power away from the traditional rulers. So now they're just figurehead without any power in their hand as we speak. They are they don't have no budget, don't have no defense of any kind, and they don't have no real power in the system. The only thing left for those traditional rulers is their influence on their people. I think this should be a part of the redress of the constitution to give those traditional rulers some of their power back. It was done on purpose in Nigeria. I think it was the governor who was a British governor was trying to rather take taxes, and one of the king opposed it, and then he went and draw into our bylaws that from this point on, a governor will have the power over the king. He was a governor then under the British colonial rule. And that system I've left in place to today, where a governor can actually, literally, move a king out of power. It just happened not long ago in the northern part of Nigeria. There's a man by name, the Emir of Kano. His name was Sanusi. He went into a political headbutt with one of the governors during election. When that governor won, he actually removed him out of office and have police and the security apparatus remove him.
Doctor, picking the call, son. Yeah.
So
yes.
That's part of what we are dealing with, that now our traditional ways and our traditional rulers does not have no power.
Okay. I'll open up the lines, and I see our viewers are eager to make a contribution on this topic. I think they're going to be a really a different perspective on the topic, because I think it's not really a topic that we can have a one-way solution. Because if we want to get into the kingdoms and we begin to hear that even governors not having right, and then we begin to ask, who has to empower the kings? The kings have the authority over their community. How did it even get there that they lose this power until we are even saying the constitution has to empower them? No, these are two different kingdoms here. So yes, El Haji, I will pick up your call, but Dr. Somtende is online. Hello, Doc.
Okay. Yeah. So, my comment is that number one, Nigeria is about 270 million, I guess.
Yes.
Population.
Almost 300.
Yes. And then there are more than 500 tribes in Nigeria.
Okay.
I am a Nigerian, I know that. And then the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Fulani, the Igbos that are disturbing Nigeria, they are less than, they're not even up to half of Nigeria. That is to say, there are other tribes out of the 500 tribes that are occupying Nigeria. And they make it look as if they're the north of Nigeria. They are not. And every tribe is a nation, because we all have tribes, we all have languages, we all have our own ways of living, we all have culture, and we have the right to determine. This is not being done. Every time Nigeria is in crisis, it's about Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani. So are they telling us that the smaller tribes are not? Or what? And then to say that Igbos have done their own, the Yorubas are doing their own, and then he leaves out Middle Belt. Middle Belt is not part of, it's in the north, but it actually has our own demographic specification, and it has the highest number of the kids I'm talking about. So this thing about Fulani taking over the land, the whole population of Fulani in Nigeria is no more than, if I can say, maybe 5 million people. So I don't know why these people should torment Nigeria like that. And then, apart from that, I blame Yoruba. Many things have been happening. At least they're the ones that are so educated, isn't it? Why is it that many things have happened? They never handled it. They never talk about it until they left it, until it reaches their turn, then they start shouting. What kind of people are those? You see? So it's a problem altogether. And then solution for Fulani people, they have come to Nigeria, they claim, and then they have taken over Hausa land. Why don't they stay in Hausa land and build ranches there and behave like 21st century human beings everywhere on the earth? Why are they going about, roaming about, trying to take resources that does not belong to them? Are we less human beings? If there's going to be a struggle for resources, does Fulani think that she's the only one that's going to be struggling for that resources?
Mm-hmm.
In short, Africa is tired of all this Fulani nonsense. The government of Nigeria must come out and sit down and design the country that 500 nations have agreed, will have to agree. And this man, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan,
yeah.
an effort to bring together all these 500 tribes that I'm talking about. And they have sat down and they have laid out how they want Nigeria to be. But these five major tribes will not let Nigeria be at rest because they think they're the lions in the jungle. They should just mind themselves. Because even during the Civil War, it was the Middle Belt that fought for Nigeria. It was not many other people. So what is all this disturbing the people of Nigeria and nobody is talking about it just because money is flying up and down? When good people don't say anything, then all of us are part of the problem.
Correct.
So activity will not help us. We have to be active. We have to say what is wrong. We have to call the government to order, call them to do the constitutional thing that will make Africa, Nigeria stronger in the 21st century. We shouldn't be going backward. We should be moving forward.
Correct.
And then Nigeria today, what's it called? Africa is wanting leadership. And Nigeria can't even have leadership in her own country. How can she even be leader in Africa? It's so sick of everything Africans do. I don't know whether we have our brains backwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me just quickly respond to the sister that called.
Go ahead.
Point well taken. We don't have enough time to mention all the over X amount of tribes we have in the country. What we've done is just take the aggregated number of the mass of the population. Of course, the Middle Belt is one of the most important part of the country, and as a matter of fact, that's where most of our oil revenue come out of. But we must also agree now that some of these tribes are minority in size. That does not mean they don't have no place. That does not mean that they are not recognized. That means that when we talk in general terms of the numbers. The population of the Fulani are more than what you have said in Nigeria, but we are not in a position to accurately say this is how many people were in the continent because we don't have a good identity system. Part of my suggestion is to have a digital system, ID system in the country and all over the continent, so we can identify who is who among us and who is coming in. There's nothing wrong in having other people, but we must check them when they come in, know who they are, and to those who are not meaning us well, we need to root those people out. But please go on.
All right, I'm picking this other call. Hello? Good day.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. I'm happy to have you on the show. What's your contribution or your comment on this topic?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Alfred. I'm calling from Boston, US. In fact, I'm very sad about about the story Mr. Femi is telling us today. I'm very sad, and this is not something new. It has been going on in sub-Saharan Africa for long. Especially, I'm from Ghana. It happens there too, and all these things going on with these Fulani people they have some political backing. It happens in Ghana too. Later on, got to these Fulani people were hired by the top politicians to rear their cows and cattle in Ghana. So no one can even tempt them to maybe do anything against them because they have political backing. I don't know the kind of leadership that we have in Africa now. How can the indigenous people, the people from all their own, they are living their own land, become slaves in their own land? Well, I don't get it. So it's time that we should leave our people to live in peace, because how can we be slave in your own land? These Fulani people have been warring sub-Saharan African people for long. They've been using their cattle to destroy farms. They've been killing people. They've been raping our women, our kids, and all that. It has been going on in Nigeria and Ghana, for instance. And how long are we going to sit down for this to happen to our own people? I'm sad today. I'm sad today to hear all this story going on back home in Africa. I'm sad. Sorry. Sister, let me leave you here for somebody.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, bro. We understand this. I mean, this topic, we have never looked into it. We've never taken it, examined it. The question of this Fulani is becoming, I mean, it's really becoming something that we have to put and focus on it. Sometimes we talk too much about other things, but the issue on the continent, we will start dealing even with the tribal mindset. Right now, we talk too much about, you know, the Western and the this, but we're going to get into these details and start looking about this tribalistic, you know, mindset that are actually breaking us apart, not just the West. Hello?
Hello, Dr. Sudai. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome, El Haji, one of our biggest fans from the Pan-African Daily TV. Thank you.
Dr. Suzanne and brother for Femi is a very important topic you are holding today.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very important to me as a genocide survivor from Western Sudan, Darfur.
Okay.
It's a sad situation to hear Nigerian going through the same situation. We have been going through such a problem for many years, for decades and decades. Because I'm a genocide survivor living in Israel now almost 9 years by myself here. And we have more than 100 refugees camp in African countries, borders like Chad, like Central Africa, inside Darfur, because of this problem. Because the the people who are moving from place to place, they are coming from different countries, like Arab tribe, and they're holding guns, and they're just killing citizens. That's where genocide took place in Darfur. And nobody talking about. What amazed me, African continent is silent. We have been dead almost 6 million of people since 2003 in Darfur. We are truly African. And there's a minority. There's a minority Arab cattle coming to killing us. Until today, the transitional government in Sudan is not able to stop this. The cattle, they are moving from place to place. Just before 2 weeks, my people in Guinea, in Krindik, refugees camp, like 53 have been killed, have been dead. 53 have been dead. Just the continent is silent. It's silent about it. What is amazing, and I'm so sorry to raise my voice, but it's so sad. It's so sad to hear the same situation in Nigeria. And these people moving from place to place, there's a minority. And let not to be political, the minority people, they are controlling Sudan since the independence. Only one state have been controlling the Sudan since independence. The president cannot come in any part of Sudan. That's why they changed the narrative of Sudan to be Arabic country. This is the issue agenda they're having and pushing Sudan to be Arab country. Although the majority of the population, 80% they are African indigenous, but the 20% they are controlling the Sudan, and that's why genocide took place in my country. Sorry, Dr. Sudan, to raise my voice, but let us feel each other in all parts of Africa, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. By the way, I consult for the government of Sudan for 4 years for free during their fight. And I told them then that no matter what happened, that they're still going to be neighbors. That's what I'm reminding Nigerians. Regardless of who these people are, we have to learn to live with them. The Nigerian people have lost over 36,000 people killed by Boko Haram.
Wow.
36,000 killed.
Hold on.
The herdsmen sometimes go to a farm, a village, and kill 100 people in a day, and nobody heard nothing about that. Now, the important part of all of these things that I want us to be very careful about is as follows. When the South Sudan government was about to break away from the Northern Sudan,
Abu, hold on.
I mentioned to them that are they sure what they are getting into? Because hence they raised their flag. From then till now, they're still fighting within themselves in South Sudan. As a matter of fact, I was on an airplane with them, flying from somewhere to Kenya, and they were fighting physically on air.
What?
On air, jeopardizing the security of the rest of us. So these are not issues we should take lightly. All our elders, the United Nations, the African Union, and all the global bodies should pay more attention to all the stripes on the ground, because some of them have an undercurrent of economics. The Fulanis who are moving around they do not have a house. They have nowhere to live at. What do we do with those kind of people? When I was younger, there was a politician in Nigeria by name Awolowo. He had mentioned that if we do not educate these northerners, so they're going to become our problem. He said if we keep educating our own children and do not educate their children, he said their children are going to make life impossible for our children. This is what we're inheriting right now.
Okay, I'm taking this other call. Hello, Abu?
Hello, good evening, Dr. Susan.
Yes, good evening.
I'm saying good evening to all listeners. I'm saying good evening to Africa.
Yes.
I want to bring my modest contribution on this topic. What is my own say in this is to say that first of all, let's focalize, because Africa is in a very, very critical situation. We have seen the Central Africa, what is happening there in Congo. All parts of Africa now, what is happening, to be intelligent enough not to fall in the game of the enemy. But the failure of our institution.
We don't hear you well, Abu.
Our own institution. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, now it's okay.
Okay, the failure of our own institutions, we should take the responsibility over this African Union, which is a failure, and this endemic corruption, what is happening in Africa, and this bad governance, which is we have always cohabited together. Let's leave the tribal system. Let's take the example in Rwanda right now. You go in Rwanda, you ask who is Tutsi and Hutu, they will tell you we are all Rwandans, we are Africans. When the government fail, we fail in this kind of topics. It's a failure of government. The government is a failure. The African Union is a failure. They have created a situation that our elite is a failure. The elite of Africa is a failure. Let's take that as the solution of our things. But in this tribal games, when we fall into that, we are falling in the games of our own enemies. Let us understand as Africans. So that is my modest contribution. I'm saying that the problem is not ethnic problem, but institutional problem, and the governments are the failure. This endemic corruption, they are all billionaires who are the population is in endemic poverty. You understand? That is the failure of Africa. Africa have a failure, which is not a tribal problem. We have tribal problems, but we see on Rwanda is developing right now.
Correct.
We take ourselves like a citizen of a nation. Nigerians are all Nigerians. You understand? They are Nigerians and Africans. I call Nigeria or every country in Africa like a state. Africa is one country. Let's take that in our mind. So let's build that in our spirit. Like Africans, we have problems like everywhere in the world. Everybody they have tribes all over the world, but that is not the solution. When the government fail, we come in this kind of conversation. Right now, Africa is in a very, very complicated situation.
Okay.
Central Africa. Look at Mali. Look at everywhere. There's fire everywhere in the continent. Let's take care. The enemy is having their own games and their own lobbies to make us fall in this kind of games. When we fall into this, I don't see us. Thank you so much, and it's my modest contribution.
Thank you very much, Abu. Thank you so much. The voice out there in the Senegals. Yes. Femi.
Yes, my sister. Well, we got our hands full.
Okay.
The question becomes, what do we do?
Femi, hold on. Let me pick up this other call, please. Hello?
Okay.
Hello? All right. I think it's connecting because it's coming from very far. +60. I think this should be something like Australia or whatever. Hello? Right. Let him please call again. Call again. Your line was just crapping. Yes, brother Femi. Okay.
Well, the issue for us
Let me just try.
is, as other people have moved from aggregated state to industrial state to digital state to AI state, Africans are yet to make it back to the village and back. It's lack of development. It's lack of good infrastructure. Africa should get our house in order. If there's a train system, as we speak it, Dubai is building a loop train that could travel close to 700 miles per hour. If we have that all over the continent, we will not be having it. We will be starting to intermarry. We'll be able to move goods and service all over the places. There's no reason at this time in human history where we should still have any group among us who are rearing cow the same way they did it in the 1100s. That's a shame on us. All the advanced countries are mentioned on their quota in their cattle industry. None of them rear cattle anywhere on earth the way we're still doing it. The government of Nigeria was actually asking for a cattle colony, which is mind-boggling. The key question is, can we have an infrastructure for the northerners who are in the cattle business? What are the modern infrastructure the government needs to put in place so that these people could do their business peacefully and don't have to roam the whole place? The issue of religion, it must be important that, yes, the jihadists are very hardcore and they do not want to listen to anybody. They want to turn everybody to their faith by force. In the Yoruba language, when we say Muslim, it means a religion by force. It shouldn't be by force. Everyone should be allowed to practice whatever religion they want, and there should be religion tolerance in the African continent. And a matter of historical perspective, if the Africa knew their history, we would not be fighting over Christianity and the Muslim faith. We would know that all our religion system came way before them, and all the other religions, including the Muslim faith and the Catholic faith, took away the base of the African religion system and built upon it to make the new faith. Having said that, it's time for us to grow up, and it's time for us to come together and formulate a governmental system that can enhance and promote the unification of our people.
All right, let's take this call from Niger. Hello.
Hi, good evening. I'm calling from London. I'm Rick.
Okay, Rick. Hello.
Right. Yeah, good evening, Sister Susan.
Good evening.
You're doing is very great.
Thank you.
To you all the time. Just ever calling. I'm to Brother Femi. I'm from Jamaica, but I'm African. But my thing is, Nigeria is a beautiful country because I travel there quite regular. But the problem is, sometimes when we see problems, we take it for granted.
Correct.
And, we have to nip these things in the bud. I mean, last week at some point, or I think 3 days ago, maybe Saturday, I heard you said that there was a crisis brewing in Nigeria, and I had to stop listening to you, jump on my phone and start checking straight, because my family live there. Not just my family, but I have friends, I have people that I really love, and I really take it serious as if it's in my house it's happening. I can't understand when people just look at it as, oh, it's happening over there. I remember about 8 years ago, I was in Lagos, and one brother that was helping to do some stuff, said to me, "Oh, it's happening in the north. Let them kill themselves." I said, "Look, my friend, it's gonna affect you. And right now, the cost of food is going up. The problem coming down through the middle belt. I mean, about 2 years ago, they killed about 100 and odd people in the middle belt. What they're talking about. So all Africans have to see themselves as one.
Yes.
If we don't see ourselves as one, we will be always being abused and used and get kicked to the curb. That's exactly what's happening to us now. So we must, I'm not going to be long because I know it's so important to hear what everyone else has to say. But I'm a Jamaican born, I'm an African born in Jamaica. Make no mistake about that. And Sister Susan, trust me, the job you're doing is extremely great. Brother Femi, the brother that you always have on from America, I listened to him for years. The brother that came on the other day.
James Small.
Yes, Professor James Small. Those are proper foundational Africans, you know. So believe me, the next thing I would like is for people, Africans born on the continent, to take us more as their brothers, because we are a cornerstone. I heard Peter Touch, Bob Marley, and all these people singing about Africa. So look, we are a part of the foundation, and until we recognize your brother all over the earth, we will never fix our problem, because the problem in Africa is everywhere, and we are all feeling it. We must come together and do what we have to do to fix Africa. Africa is our main home, even if all of us don't go there to live. Thank you, Sister Susan. Thank you, Brother Femi. Do your best, people. We have to fix Africa, please.
Thank you very much, Rick. I mean, this topic you're just saying right here, how we have to embrace each other. That's the reason why I sit here every day, because I understand our problems on the continent. We are still even in another mentality. I know the diaspora. The diaspora knows both systems. They have tested it, and they are so relevant and useful to the liberation of every other systems on the continent, or just to neutralize it and bring the skills. It is very, very correct. Until we recognize our brothers that were taken away from us and embrace them, Africa, we have a long way to go, but we will make it. Hello?
Hello, my name is Francis. I'm calling from Mozambique.
Okay, Francis. Wow, Mozambique. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, brother.
Anyway, I'm from Nigeria, but the eastern part of Nigeria, that is Biafra. I'm a Biafra man.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a Biafra. I have to say it, you know. Yes, in Nigeria, we have so many problems. The problem we have, I can tell you that the Yorubas contributed many of it. Like our brother here speaking, if he can tell himself truth or the word truth, he will know that the media in Nigeria are occupied by the Yorubas. The media in Nigeria failed to tell Nigerians the whole world the truth, how this is happening in Nigeria. As I'm talking to you now, in Imo State, a place called Oru, there is soldiers and police are killing people here. There is problem. But you cannot hear it from the media in Nigeria. The issue of a man called Omaz Nandekalo. Military went to his house when he's under down because the media never reported it and said this man, military went to his house and killed his fellow kinsmen and killed everybody that made the man to hunt it out. But the Yoruba media can never report this. So these are the problems. If the media controlled by the Yorubas can come out and tell the whole world the way Nigeria is spoken, Nigeria will be a better place.
Okay.
But for me, if you try to study a case of Nigeria, you will really find out that the country called Nigeria never be one. From the one, you know. The founders of the Nigeria, the old leaders, they never agree in one Nigeria. The language called one Nigeria never exists. So the present is for everybody to go its own way. Let the Yorubas go. Let the Biafrans go. Let the Arewas go. Let the Middle Belt go.
To where?
They call it, yes.
To where, brother? You say, I didn't get that point. When you say let each person go its own way, to where?
Yes, to have their every part of the country go on their own way, control themselves, and be better. There will be competition. Everybody will do well.
And what about brother? Please wait. I see. I'm a little bit lost. We are building a united force, a one Africa. It's just like you're telling our brothers in the diaspora, okay, you stay in the diaspora, and the others stay, the Jamaican stay, and we all belong to one people. What is the solution that you think that? What is it that you think that we can really make it work?
No, it cannot work in Nigeria. There's nothing we make in Nigeria be one as a one country. No, if it does not happen today, in future it must happen. There's nothing we make Nigeria unite. I have lived in that country before I lived there. My sister, I want to tell you something. The resources Nigeria have, the resources they have. If any part of the country in any other part of the world have it, Nigeria will be greater than any other country, any European country. Do you know when they find oil in Nigeria? Do you know how many years? When Nigeria, the oil is found in Nigeria, the crude oil, till today, we are suffering in electricity. There's no electricity in our country. We don't have good roads. We don't have school.
Okay.
I'm telling you, lack of improvement.
All right.
This is joke.
Okay, brother.
So the president, let the Yorubas come out, join the Biafra. Let the Biafra join the Tutwas. Be their own nation. Let them join hands. Agree. Let everybody go its own path. Have their own country and controlled by their people, by their culture. They have different cultures in Nigeria. The Yorubas have a different culture. The Hausas, Fulanis have a different culture. The people from the eastern Nigeria have a different culture. There is nothing will make us be one, and it can never be one.
Okay.
I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah. Please be aware of the fact that we are on the Pan-African Daily TV, and our main goal is an agenda that works for Africa. I mean, we appreciate every contribution, and particularly this perspective. Why not? Of course, being a united Africa, we're already nations, and we want an Africa that works for Africa. It means we can also collaborate with one another, live in peace, and move the continent. As a matter of fact, Femi, what do you think about this? You've been hearing this. I don't know. I just like, what am I doing here building a united Africa?
Look, most of us are frustrated. And when you are frustrated, you become short-sighted. And if you're not a person...
Do you also have understanding that Africans should really be frustrated in this state of governance?
No, I think we need to restructure.
Okay.
Part of what is hurting the whole of the African continent is that we're using a foreign governmental system to address our local issue.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans came with the capital system. Soviet Union and that group came up with their communism system. Before all of them, Africa had the three systems: socialism, communism, and capitalism under the system.
Hold on. Just hold on, please.
Now, we are dealing with one system without a social network to help us when we're in conflict. There's nowhere on the planet where there's no conflict. What I would say to the brother is as follows. Even if all of us are successful in succeeding from the Nigerian country as it stands today, we will still going to have internal rivalry in that small niche. That's what I gave the example of South Sudan. Before they broke into two countries, I was one of the mediators who was constantly working with them to figure if they can figure it out. They finally separated, and they're still fighting as we speak. So I don't think it's just the issue of us just going apart. It's to see what does the individual group needs, what are our wants, and can we come back to a table as a brother and sisters and try to formulate a system that will benefit all in their own respective tribes. That's where we should approach. The issue of the lack of media in Nigeria, there's media suppression in Nigeria. Just speaking out against the system, you could get arrested and you could get locked up. So a lot of people are afraid, and so also the back-end monitoring system of the media houses in Nigeria have to be very careful because they can yank their license and turn their cameras off. So what do we have to do? We have the social media. We could interact through these medias by talking to one another and what we need to do. And we could use this same media system to reassemble ourselves as a bunch of people trying to fight towards the same direction. I think at the end of the day, what must happen is in some places we have friends, but in some other places we have frenemies. That's a friend and an enemy in one. Is the question become, are we strategic in a position enough to use the pressure point from the foreign government, i.e. the US, i.e. the European Union, the UK have broke away from it, to put pressure on some of this alien government? Is the African Union strong enough? Do we have enough capital formation? We don't even produce our own weapon. So how do we now have money to buy a weapon to go police a part of the African continent that is not functioning well? How do we borrow money to buy weapons from people who we are trying to get our head away from underneath them from their stronghold of the European, the Asians in the continent? Yes, we want to do business with them. Yes, we want to partner with them. I'm a US citizen, but the African issue must be addressed first so that we could self-sustain ourselves, so that we don't become a basket case and be dependent on other people for all our needs. That's where we need to start to head. The issue of us breaking to pieces, it's an easy exit, but it's not a solution, because when you break away with these people, they're still neighbors of yours. Then what happens next? Are you going to be able to move your goods through them? Like in the case of South Sudan and North Sudan, after they broke away into two countries, they have to now come back to the table because the oil of the one have to pass through the other side to get one is landlocked to get to where they need to send it to. So either way we look at all of this issue, we have to figure a way to find a conflict resolution system that will work for us and to beg the international community, who are still our friends, to see if they can put a pressure point on some of the issue going. But there are some undercurrent people are afraid to talk about in some of all of this conflict, is that sometimes the people we're going to ask for favor are the same people that want to sell their weapons.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
how
So that's the point where you say we have to no. We have to come to the fact that to understand that we need to liberate our own self and build our own system. Why will we keep asking on the world to put pressure on us?
I sincerely think that a saying in where I come from, they say when your head is in the lion's mouth, you move it away gradually. We have to find a strategy where we are still connected to all this global system. We could dream all we want to snatch ourselves away from it. We do not have a capital formation of our own. We do not have no weapon system of our own.
We have to start it now.
So what we have to do is start and gradually build ourselves up through a system that should be a step at a time to eventually get ourselves out of the stronghold of other foreign countries.
Let me pick this few calls and then we'll be concluding. Hello? Hello? Hello, you're connected. Yes. Go ahead. No, your connection is so bad. I'm so sorry. And you really have been trying so long. In one hello? Hello? I'm really sorry. Your connection is crappy today. I don't know why, but it's unfortunate. Brother Femi. Brother Femi, right? Okay. What I was saying, or what actually skipped on my mind is like, I don't know whether we would ever survive this without really coming to the consensus, like Professor James Moore was saying, we have to build an Africanness. I mean, we would keep always complaining and begging and calling for pressure to pressure us. No, 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 no. We have to pressure ourselves. And once in a lifetime, we will do it. That is why I'm calling on all of us, we have to put our monies where our mouth is. That is the campaign that Dr. Arikana, Queen Mother, is saying, you know what? Men, step behind us and let the women take the lead and fix the Africa that we want. I bet on her with my life. Yes, and that she would make it. But we need to put this money. We're raising a 1 million. 1 million is just a start. What is 1 million? For God's sake. But we're starting with 1 million to say, women, please, 1,000 euros per person or $1,000. We need just 1,000 and we're done in the very shortest time. We need this money. We can't keep complaining every day and talking. We know the challenges are people are dying. They're going to wipe us all from the map of the earth. If they don't come through vaccines, they're going to come through guns. They're going to political structures. They're going to come through our own army, our brothers in this cowards that keep pounding of us. Everywhere we are, we should be ready. We are our own enemies. And every other penetration is going to come through us. And they're always going to get us through us. It's not the first time that we're saying it. You're not hearing it from Susan Tata today. But it's something that has always been there. And it keeps repeating. And every day we sit here and talk about, oh, we have this problem. Oh, there is this solution. No, I have come to understand. And just like you watching me, Dr. Arikana and other leaders are saying we need to put our money together. This world, no, without money, we can't talk. Without money, let's just cover our mouth and go and begin to earn our salaries. We need to come up with a budget. We need to own that Africa and control it. Please, let's put this money together. All these leaders that we're talking about will become good leaders and they'll be fetching us. What about that? Let us cut our expenses. We're too luxurious. We're too comfortable to change Africa. We're just too comfortable. Luxury cars, luxury immobilian, and we sit behind and complain and say we want to work. No, we're not working. We have to put our money where our mouth is. And we are not short of that. Let's make a payment plan to the ADDI. We're raising this money. We give ourselves 6 months. No, 6 months is too much. We can only the diaspora alone, talk less about the continent. We have been tired of talking these things. Now it's time to do the do. Yes, we're going to do the do, and we're going to raise that money. And we see how much we cannot invest in our military. How much we cannot. What about going to war? What is wrong in that? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sister Susan, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for your work. And my brother, Mr. Femi, I greet you too.
Thank you.
My contribution always remains the same. You know, most times I call, what I'm always talking about is we have to start from somewhere in Africa. The individuality is too much. It's really, really hurting us. We are too far from each other. We are far from each other. Without collective effort, we cannot do it. Whatever is happening in Nigeria today, I complained about it that day. It's the same thing happening in Namibia, the same thing happening in Tanzania, Uganda, everywhere. How are we comfortable? And we saw what happened last time in Uganda in the election, that Bobby Wine was kept on house arrest, and you see every other Africans here and there, sometimes even driving big cars, sometimes even going to parties, and we are not supposed to be comfortable because it's like this is just a way forward. I kind of, if we allow this to happen, meaning that we have not even started. We have not even started at all. It's our cry. This is a young man who is trying to save Ugandans from this. So it should be our cry. As far as that guy was fought, was kept in house arrest by army, by an old man, we are not supposed to be comfortable.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you so much for your contribution. But what we are saying today, and we are saying is, hey, All of us now are rising up and talking about Bobby Wine. Oh, he would have done this. How many of us actually put money into his campaign? At $10, how many of us? Money would save everything. We have to put our money where our mouth is. Brother Femi?
Well, what I would say to that is this. Post-colonial era left Africans globally in a survival state of mind. That means it's just me, and me. Even if you have $1 billion, it's still me, and me. We haven't got to a developmental state where we realize the good for all benefit all. That the best security system on earth is not your gun, it's not your camera, it's when you have food and your neighbor have food. That's when you will sleep well. On the monetary system we're discussing, I don't think that I think we are moving towards that direction, but we're using the wrong instrument. There is no way possible that we could formulate a monetary system under the same system we are using and be able to use it to take ourselves out of it. Why? There's a book titled Yurugu, Yurugu, written by Mariba Ani,
I'll
ANI.
pick up your call. Just hold on the line.
We cannot use the same
Hold on the line. I'll pick up your call, okay?
To divide us and conquer us, to assemble us again. What am I saying? The digital age is a God gift to the Africans globally. It's time we start to use a digital formation system, which is the trend of the future, to come up with our own Africa cryptocurrency, to come up with our own monetary system. The current monetary system, we do not control the World Bank. We do not control the IMF. When they were put together, there was not a single African nation on the table. And a gag order was put in place to make sure it was controlled by the Europeans and the Europeans and the Europeans. Asians are making noise about it now, but we still don't have no power until we are able to find something in the digital system that allows us our own formation so we do not have to answer. Most of the African countries are sold when we are looking for loans for major infrastructural development or major development of any kind. It is when we go to look for loans that we sign our life away and we put a chain on our neck again by ourselves. That must change. So also this digital system I'm talking about is known to most of the listeners. If we put a good digital system in place, it will guide against all the corruption in Africa. It will guide against our own procurement file system we're using. And there will be a good check and balance for the continent to be able to monitor what we're doing monetarily. I believe that, yes, we need to put our money, like you said, where our mouth is, but we need to find a different instrument of how we're going to put this.
That is going to take so long. That is going to be so long before we change a system into a cryptocurrency. All Nigerians, Fulani, would have chopped all our heads together. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Dr. Susan Charter, this Theo, I'm calling from California, watching your program.
Thank you very much, Theo.
Yes, my contribution to this thing, what is going on, what I'm trying to say, all about the African leaders, they all have to come together. They all have to go to the table, sit down and solve this problem. You don't need outsiders. The outsiders, we already know that the outsiders, they are problems. They are the ones who creating the problem. The African leaders, they need to sit down and solve the problem by themselves.
Okay.
All of these people that is trying to contribute and come in, they're only creating upset animosity among the African people to reap what Africa, the continent that Africa have. All they have to do is come together. There is no more talking running around thinking what to do. They already know what to do.
Correct.
They already know what to do. The AU, the head of the AU, they're not doing nothing. They're working with foreign government. France, Germany, China, the UK, and all the South in America.
Mm-hmm.
They're all playing a game. It's a monopoly game. It's like a chessboard. The moving pawns. And the African leaders have to identify that and come together and solve the problem for Africa, for its children of Africa. I'm a Jamaican. I'm from Jamaica.
I hear.
I reside in California right now, in Los Angeles. So my problem is watching this thing. It's all confusing to see what's going on the continent. What is going on right now in Uganda with Bobby Wine and Bolivia? It's all just sad. It's just a design to keep down the youth, and the youth, they can rise up to solve the problem. The youths are the future. And the whole heads, they have to step aside, and they don't have to come half, move away. They just go aside and try to educate the younger youth, keep them in the right direction. But because they are corrupt, they're putting money in their pocket, buying houses in France, buying houses all over the place. They can't see the situation.
Okay.
So this is my contribution. Yes.
Thank you very much, Theo.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. Bye. Yeah. Okay. We're running up this program, and I want to give you guys a shout out there to all of you watching. I mean, you're so marvelous today. After 3-4 days of not being and sitting here with you, I see Kofi. Kofi, you're saying, please donate. Please donate to Susan Tata. Donate to the Pan-African Daily TV. Donate. We are not turning at anything. We know all this. Sometimes having this conversation, I think we've been too diplomatic. I mean, we're trying to put diplomacy. We're trying to put, no. Now we're saying we have a 1-year plan to put our money together. And when we get that money, we can start talking about it. All we will have to be doing now is putting that money. Whatever we talk about, I'm sad. It's not good enough. It's not. We are all sad. Joshua and I have cried here. All of our leaders have been here. Now I'm just refurbishing. Femi is here for the 3rd time. Femi. And we are just recycling the same conversation, the same face with different topics, same solutions. No. Now we're going to do what it means. We have to cut down our expenditures. Yes, the leaders, we already know what their problem is. So we're not going to keep focus on telling them they are putting, we already know 500 million every year is leaving African countries into the coffers of France. We know that. Must somebody stand again and ring that bell? Must Dr. Arikana come here 1 million times to tell us the same thing? No, we know our problem. We know it, Africans. We have to stop being so luxurious, trying to meet up, trying to whitelist ourselves. I'm also riding, I'm cruising, I'm owning a lodge, I'm doing this. And we sit behind and we see our people being killed on daily basis. We are not able to roll our sleeves and say, you know what, all of us are going to eat gari and sugar every day, cold water gari, for all of you who knows what I'm talking about, to liberate ourselves. We're too comfortable marrying 20 wives and trying to be the kings and kingdom. No, we have to come together, raise that money, and we're going to free our country. Guaranteed. We're not going to be messing all this.
My sister,
no,
my sister,
no.
I agree with you totally. I think the question I'm asking us before is that, yes, we need to raise money. There is a writer out of Nigeria. His name was Chiwenzu. He wrote 2 great books, and his 3rd work is what I want to talk about. I won't talk about it for long. It's called Endopreneurism. Endopreneurism by Chiwenzu. That was his last work I'm familiar with. Basically, what Chiwenze was saying in his work is that we cannot use the same system to liberate us, because if at all times we are participating at the economy we say we don't want to participate in, that we need to now figure a way to create our own system for us, by us, for us. How do we negate between the flat currency in the world compared to our currency? If we put this money in this hemisphere, we take it to Nigeria, the exchange rate is 1 to 400 and something. If we take it to Sudan, the numbers are different. We take it to Cote d'Ivoire, it's different. So the question becomes, yes, no doubt, without that, we need to raise money. That money should be used for 3 entities: culture, economics, and political infrastructure. But what I'm going to express here, we need soft infrastructure.
Military, Femi, sorry, military, we need it also.
Oh, definitely, but we have to start with a soft infrastructure. That means, how are we going to govern all these things from our own perspective? Are we going to use the divide and conquer system we inherited from the Europeans to now develop the new system we're discussing? There have to be a brain trust that put an agenda together, not from the African Union. They're not ready. There have to be a brain trust that says this is what we need to do.
That's what
and
we
then
need.
I agree with the money for information, and I agree that we should put all our money together to do something with it.
Thank you very much, Brother Femi. There's no negotiation on this topic anymore. Now is the time. We're saying we're giving ourselves 6 months. We're raising that money. So please, I'm just telling us, because I'm already start saving mine. We are going to raise that money. We're going to cut off something. We're going to give up some other things. 3 years we are taking back. But we're not going to be taking it by just saying, oh, we're sorry. Oh, Bobby is on the house arrest. We're sorry, the Fulanis. We need to educate them. These are not our solutions. These are not African solutions. These are kind of being nice and not talking straight and chew our words, because maybe somebody is watching you and you say, oh, they're going to kill me. You are all going to die. Even if we don't fight, they're going to chop us off. The Fulanis are ready with their AK-7s. Did they go to school? Do they have a media? No, but they're doing what? They're controlling. So let's sit here and talk and talk. We have to put our money, get our military. Sometimes we will get infrastructures. We need the money. Papa Kofi, I missed you a lot. Tell me what you want to talk, but please keep it short. As you can see me, Papa Kofi, just go on, please.
Really? You know, I just want to point one thing which the man talking about, Mr. Femi talking about. You know, as we are Africans and we are demand that diaspora must become homes, which is African descendants must become home. So if we talking this way, that we need the African descendants to become home, and we are still talking about discriminate ourselves, that this Fulani, this Awuna, this Ghanaian, this how do you call Tanzanian or whatever, will not solve the problem. Yeah, we know that we have a problem, we have an indigenous problem, and our biggest problem in Africa is religion, and this thing must be cut off. No religion is supposed to be in that place. We don't need no religion. It's the religion who caused the major problem in Africa is a religion. So if we call the religion problem, there's no problem about it. We don't have no problem with each other. Yeah, the only problem we have in Africa with each other is the religion. Yeah. So if we are here talking about we call our ancestors. We don't call our ancestors ancestors of Cameroon or ancestors of Nigeria or ancestors of Tanzania. No, we say our ancestors. No, we know we're African. No, but we find the major problem which caused this kind of division in Africa. You know, to solve the problem, because the African youths are suffering. African youths don't know where to go. African youths don't know where to go. Mm-hmm. So it's the major problem which we're supposed to find. See, so our own peoples use the Christianity
or a Muslim religion to loot our own people. And the government are there looking at this bullshit. Have you seen? Can you see in Europe here any church member or any church pastor can come television and make magic money? Say if you bring 10,000, I will make it 10 million for you. You can't see that in Europe here, but you can see that in Africa, all over Africa. So how then we accept this kind of bullshit and we are still talking that no, this is Fulani, this Nigerian, this Ghanaian, this and that. No. I think the major problem is this kind of religion. I will leave this when I'm talking for you.
Thank you, Papa Kofi. Thank you so much. All right, I think nice. we've poured out and we've talked a lot. Femi, I'm giving you the last word, and then we look forward to Tender tomorrow.
Thank you. I think our head needs to be put back on our shoulder, because as we're talking, how much money you say we want to raise?
1 million for a start. 1 million. Okay. Yes.
For a start, in Nigeria, in a place called Banana Republic, one person built a house at the cost of $50 million US. I will say we can't find 10 of those guys to just.
Can you imagine? I was about to ask, this very Nigeria, are we talking, is it the land of Dangote? Is it the land of Tony Elemo? Is it the land of, is it the land of, I cannot even count how many lands whatever.
Yes. So what am I saying to us is that, yes, the grassroots could help us to raise this money, but we need to reach to the highest still echelon of our society to get their mind in order, to come back to the table to help the African continent to do some of this fundraising. Some of these guys could give you 20 million and don't even scratch themselves. 20 million at a blow. They're billionaires and they're sitting on all that money. And how many houses could they live in? How many airplanes could you fly? And how many yachts could you ride at the same time? Huh? So the issue for us is we need to get our brain in order. We need to formulate some kind of system that will enhance us. And we need, yes, to put capital together to do what we say we're going to do to back us up. I agree.
All right. Good. You agree? We all agree. Thank you so very much, Femi. And we'll be having you on this conversation very often, let's just say in 2 weeks, because we want to take a retrospective of all our speakers on the Pan-African Daily TV. It's not just only speaking and having conversation, but we are mapping this much of women leading and raising these funds. But we're calling on all our husbands, our brothers, and our, please join us on this trail. It is not going to work about whatever system. Systems will come when money speaks. We would build the infrastructures. We're not going to build it with our mouth, making popcorn with our mouth. No, we're going to build the school system. We're going to break down this tribal, and we're saying religious wars or what, but it takes money. It takes money to just put the systems in place. Let us not dream standing up now. All right. So, Brother Femi, thank you. And we'll see you some other time. Stay safe.
I wish all the best.
Yes.
Best for my continent and its people.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we're having a hot topic, and I like who is coming. I like who is coming, because it's not that one that we want to get a political romance. We've been romancing and we've been eating with our enemies. And we've been eating even our own enemies ourselves. No, this has to stop. Sometime we will have to stand up and say, you know what? Now this is the point. We're going to hit up our hands on the table and stop being politically nice. Politically nice in our choice of word, in our vocabulary. And then we want to be groomed slaves. We don't want to be emotional because they say, Susan Tata is acting up. And she's like, no, be yourself. We want to build an Africa that works. Even talking about, we have 10 millionaires on the continent or billionaires. I don't give a damn about them, because you know what? Billionaires don't get the same conversations me and you do here. They don't watch Pan-African Daily TV anyway. They don't. They will go and sponsor major corporations. They're the ones buying the AK-4s. Let them come. Well, I don't know how they call it, but that's how I know it. They're the ones. How can they be silent and become millionaires in a continent where millions of people are rotting of poverty, and you are one man that owns millions. Come on, give me a break. You must not be an African. You're just only black. Yes, until we reach that topic, that level where if I am not, you are not. Yeah, then we are going to start talking. We're going to start mobilizing it, but it starts with money. It starts with money. I love who is coming tomorrow. Let me just tell you again very quick. Hold on. I'm going to get my calendar here. Who is coming tomorrow? This is going to be very interesting. Oh my goodness. I want to talk about the topic, not just the person. I know who is coming, but I want to talk about the topic, and I don't want to miss a word what he said to me today. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. This is him. He is called Rutendo. Say his name. Mark down that name for those of you who've never known Rutendo. If you go back to the history of Pan-African Daily TV, you're going to see that hard cracker. Yeah, he's been talking about Zimbabwe sanctions from the US government. Now let's see what this other new administration is coming to do on that issue. Yes, Rutendo is the man in the house. We're not talking about boys. We're talking about men. We're talking about those die-hard brave ones that will look at it in the face and call it that name. We're not talking about just Africanness and being black. We're talking about a brother that will look at even an African brother and say, you know what, if you're supporting all these Western corporations on the continent, you are not good to be a leader. Okay? Yes, it talks about uncomfortable things, because sometimes we're so groomed in like we want to change, but we're so comfortable we don't want to change anyhow, you know. So Rutendo Mintanyarare is coming tomorrow, and it's going to be hot. Now, what is the topic? He's going to be cracking on youth and leadership. Youth and leadership. And he said, are African young leaders aware and ready for the challenge of a new Africa? Are they really aware on whose agenda we are operating? And I like Rutendo's point of view to say the diaspora, I can trust them. But African leaders on the continent, they're going to just take one. It's going to be like, he describes it so well. It's a one trouser with two pockets. So whether you take it from here and put it here, it is still the one trouser. Anyway, that is his perspective. I buy it a little bit, but I also think, why not? If this old crooks would give us the space, yes, we'll make a better Africa. And while we're going to do that, let us watch out tomorrow for Rutendo. Thursday, I already told you, we miss Kojo Bentil so very much on our spirituality and the science of what we have to know that is still holding us back, you know, from chopping up all these hand-picked made religions that we're talking about. No, that is not you, African. That is not you. Doesn't matter how you tie a tie and a bow tie and look clean and drive a good car. No, you're not good enough. If you don't know who your brain owns, if you don't know who owns your brain, and you don't know the brands that you keep bragging and putting on, you are not good enough. So we are going to crack these things through our spirituality. Who is just us, where we come from, how we react. I mean, how do we do our stuff and just be ourselves and mind our business and take care of our people and our continent. So Kojo Bentil is going to be here on Thursday. I can't wait. Now, Queen Mother, I told you already, is coming here on Friday. Please get ready. She's bringing fire. She's bringing fire. And for those of you who don't know, you know that she also went through a grieving moment. She's going to share that story with us. Most of you have followed it up. We had posted it, but it was kind of like, keep it silent. She has to break that silence herself. So please, when she comes here, pour her all the love of condolences and everything that she needs to know. Because you know what? She's saying, we're going to lose all, but we're not going to lose Africa. We're going to grieve all. We will bury all ourselves and our children. But Africa, no. That blood will have to flow for some of us. But we don't need no blood, isn't it? Do we? We don't need it. We're too civilized. We're too clean. We're too educated. We're just full of ourselves to deliver. And we promise we're going to do that. So Queen Mother, Dr. Arikana Shikomborikwa, has been a little bit in the background, but she did not forget about us. And she's coming to say, you know what? Please pack well. pack well if you're not ready for this Africa, because all of us are going to take it. Okay, so Queen Mother is going to be here. Now we have our expert. I just like him because we come from the same background of studies, intercultural. What is it that we must know as Africans? And also the topic of leadership and culture. These two values are something that we will not separate for it now, because we know what is chopping us on the continent: leadership. And how must the leadership model go? So we need to go back to history and culture. There's two things, we will never disappear from it. We can talk about economics, politics, whatever. If we don't address these two values, yeah, our children will have a long way to go. Anyway, we don't wait for that and we don't call for that. So please join us tomorrow. This week on the Pan-African Daily TV, we're already ready. All our flyers are on time. I just dropped it on the Facebook page and my account, and we're going to be sharing it. What you just need to know and what you need to be doing is just sharing them to reach the worldwide Africans. Okay? Yeah. So we see ourselves tomorrow, same time. You can see I'm charging and I'm sparkling, and I'm not taking nothing for granted when it comes to Africa. Africa or never. Or never. We see ourselves tomorrow, same time. Take care of yourself. Same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.